My friend Angela always reminds me that you can either be the person who does the thing or the person who writes about the thing, and it's really hard to do both. We have definitely felt that tension these last 2 weeks in the garden because frankly, we haven't wanted to stop for anything. So we've been sun up to sundown, hands in the dirt all day, and it's been so fun. But I've got to give you an update on what's been going on. As of now, all the vegetables have been transplanted out into the market garden. So the tomatoes, the peppers, the eggplants, the corn, the green beans, all those heat-loving vegetables, everything in its place. All that's left to do now in the market garden is fill the pathways with that wood chip mulch, which is just taking forever. It's so much shoveling and so much physical work. But we're getting there, and we even got a few hazelnut trees planted. The raspberries are doing great, growing thick and strong, which makes me really happy. The potager, I've been spending a lot of time layering in more and more perennials. We had a mole go through and just eat some of them off at the roots or, damage them enough that they didn't come back this year. So I'm filling in a few holes, digging up a few others that came back where I forgot they were and moving them all around. And it actually made me think, this is something that holds a lot of people back from gardening, is thinking that I'm not going to get it right, or I'm going to plant something in the wrong place, or I'm not going to like those colors together. But really, that's part of the fun. And there's this huge myth around gardening that it's only for the experts, and that's simply not true. What it takes is a willingness to put yourself out there and try something creative. So don't make that mistake. You can advance in your garden and learn how to do this. Your mistakes are going to teach you as much as your successes. So don't be afraid to try. I have moved so many plants, ripped things out, changed the heights, changed the shape, and that's just kind of part of the process. It's okay to let yourself express what you like in your garden and shift it as that changes. Here are just a few of my very apparent mistakes in the garden this year. Oh, and by the way, remember how I promised I was going to keep a gardening journal? Well, that lasted for about a week, so that one's already kicked to the back. We'll try again next year. Here are my lovely artichokes that I started from seed about 12 weeks ago, and they were doing super well until I left them in the greenhouse on a really hot day. You guys know we had a mole eat all of our tomato starts. Here are a few remaining ones, so go me. A goose got out and ate 100 cabbages that I had just transplanted into the market garden, completely wiped the beds clean. So we had to go to the market and buy some cabbage transplants, so we don't get to try out that cool storage variety this year. But you know what? It's just kind of all part of it. We have a really fun week ahead of us this week because my brother-in-law is coming to help us build a pond in the greenhouse gardens, and I'm really excited about this just because I want basically like a teeny tiny little fish pond where I can put a few lily pads, have a little place for frogs, for my bees to drink, so I'm really getting excited. It's been an enriching experience already this year to see the the flowers that we've planted grow in, and at this point you really start to realize you're creating something special. Even while we're waiting for the finishing touches, and of course the garden doesn't look like it's going to look in a decade, but things are starting to sprawl out a little bit and starting to send up some flower shoots, and it's so beautiful to see all of these thoughts and dreams that you have come into fruition. Even though some of them, shrivel up and die, some of them you have to shift around. It doesn't always work out like you plan. It's still so worth it. So don't be afraid to try, okay? Don't be afraid just because you don't have any experience, or maybe you have a little bit of experience. So what? So what? Get out there, go to the nursery, just find what you love. Find what speaks to you. Come back to your garden and plant it. Get your hands dirty.
This is one of my David Austin shrub roses that I ordered special. And I know this is small still. It has a big way to go, but it has its first buzz, which is enough to keep me going. For the last 4 years, I've been trying to get Lady's Mantle to grow in my garden, and finally this year, a transplant from Bluestone Perennials made it, and it's blooming. This would honestly be enough to keep me going. Check it out. Is that just the happiest little thing? And it'll grow big and self-seed itself all over the place, which I'm excited for. This year was also a first in the dahlia department. Now, many people are super surprised to find out that I've never grown dahlias before, but I found those varieties that I told you about that I really love and planted them in some pots just to see how they do, and they're already starting to come up. These little guys are nasturtiums, and here are the dahlias coming up.
The black Queen of the Night tulips are right outside my kitchen window, and it's really hard to beat just watching them sway with the breeze this time of year. They grow so tall, and I told Stuart I'm gonna have to buy 1,000 more of these bulbs and just fill all the beds of the potager because I love the way this tulip contrasts with the green this time of year. The daffodils and the narcissus have reached their end, which is always a sad time of year. And another flower that I just want to plant thousands of in the fall because they brought so much joy to the gardens before everything else is blooming. The currants are actually giving us quite a show this spring too. I fertilized them last fall with some well-rotted manure. This is, I think, their second or third year of life. It's so fun to see their branches just heavy with those little berries. We might actually get a substantial enough harvest to make some jelly this year. We've also been harvesting our first greens from the gardens, which has been really exciting because we've been living off stored over vegetables all winter, and to finally have fresh plates of salad greens and kale and collard greens and spinach, we just can't get enough. So from here on out, it's greens to everything until the tomatoes start. The days are getting longer. We go to bed with the sun still just in the sky, and we wake up to birds singing and the sun coming up. It's so beautiful. I want to just take it all in and really savor what mid-spring has to offer in the gardens.